Hey, welcome to this video. So in this video, we're going to discuss about the concept of storage class and how you can solve it during CK exam. So we'll cover both of it. So if you watch the video till the end, you will understand exactly how to tackle this question if it comes in the CK exam. I mean, with using the documentation and everything. So make sure you watch the video till the end and watch it carefully so that you understand. Without wasting much time, we will get into the concept of storage class and then we will go and solve the question. Okay. So this is what is storage class. So storage class is like we have persistent volume claim. There is also a storage class. So what is storage class? It allows the main property of storage class, which we should know, is that it allows for dynamic provisioning of storage volume based on the parameters, and also it allows you to connect to different storage devices, like for example Amazon, EBS, like that. Okay. So we will look at some of the key features of storage class. One, as I mentioned already, it is dynamic volume provisioning. More on that, I'll let you know. So here what happens is that you only create a persistent volume claim. You do not create the persistent volume that will be dynamically provisioned by the storage class itself. Then obviously it supports different types of storage types. One is AWS EBS, Google Persistent Disk, Azure Disk, and several others of that sort. It also allows us to set up custom settings like disk type and all that. And reclaim policy. So what is reclaim policy is what will happen once the persistent volume claim is deleted. So once the persistent volume claim is deleted, what will we do with the persistent volume? Should we retain it? Should we delete it or recycle it? So that also can be set. And binding mode. So binding mode is what? The binding mode is at what point will the PVC get binded to the PV? So this can be of two types. One is immediate, or one is wait for the first consumer. So immediate means that as soon as the PVC is created, it will get binded with the PV. It will get bound with the PV. But wait for first consumer, it means is that even if the PVC is created, until and unless some pod or some form of this container does not claim that, it won't really get bound. The PVC won't get bound to the PV. So that's what it is. So now let's also understand a little bit about the dynamic provisioning and the static provisioning. So for example, if you have like a storage class like which has AWS, EBS, Azure Disk, everything, which supports dynamic provisioning, in that scenario, all we do is we create the storage class and the PVC, and the storage class will be responsible for allocating the PV for that. So we don't need to create a PV manually. That is the key difference. But if you have like, if you're just storing it in a local path or NFS or something of that sort, then we have to first of all manually create the PV, and then the Kubernetes will bind the PVC to that PV. So that's how we have to do it. So that is the main difference between dynamic provisioning and static provisioning. And when do you use static provisioning? Static provisioning you use when your storage is like a local storage or anything of that sort. Then in that scenario, we cannot make use of dynamic provisioning. And so that's why we will make use of static provisioning. So that is the key concepts of storage class, and one of the key properties as well. So now we'll just go to directly to Killer Coda, and also I will open the Kubernetes documentation and give, because during the exam we'll have this in front of us and we can make use of this, right? So this is the documentation, and we'll keep this with us so that we can solve it exactly like how we would solve it in the exam. And I'm making use of Killer Coda because it will give you scenario based questions. So because of that, we can utilize it to solve the question. Okay. So let me just press start here. So, okay, I hope it's zoomed in enough for you to see clearly. So what is the question? For this question, please set this context in exam. Yeah, so in the exam, there'll be a different cluster name, it seems, but if you press this, it will set the context. And now this task is very small. I will make a bigger video soon, which will be uploaded later. But for now, this is good to begin with. So what is written over here? Create a storage class called green STC as per the properties given below. So what are the properties that we need to define over here? One is provisioner, volume binding mode should be wait for consumer, and the volume expansion should be enabled. So this is very straightforward, nothing special over here. So let's just get right into it. So if we go, whenever such a task comes, without wasting much time, directly go into the documentation and type storage class. Now, since we need to make a storage class, obviously you're going to type storage class. And if you go here, go and find the first YAML. So for that, I'll just write storage class, and I'll just press this down arrow here. until yeah. So I've got a YAML here. I'll copy it. I go back to my killer code over here, and I will do a VI to create a file called sc.yaml. I don't give big names because wastage of time giving big names. And then I will just press I for insert, and then I'll paste whatever I copied. Okay. So now, first of all, what I'll do is I'll press escape. So I'm no more in insert mode, and I will try to remove whatever is not mentioned over here. So parameters are not mentioned, so I don't need it. So I will remove that. Volume binding mode is mentioned, so I will need it, so I won't remove that. But mount options is not needed, so I'll remove that. Reclaim policy, is that mentioned over here? No, so I'll remove that as well. And then what is remaining is annotations. That is also not mentioned, so I can remove that. So now let's see what they've written. So they have said to create a storage class called green STC. So I'll just name this green STC. That is good. Then if I press this for the provisioner, so as of now, you do not have any AWS or anything set during the exam. So no provisioner means that you will have to use a local PV for deploying any storage. So that's that. And they're saying volume expansion has to be true and wait for consumer. So if you see, everything is set properly. We have done the green STC, the provisioner is set properly. Allow volume expansion is set to true, and volume binding mode is set to wait for first consumer. Press escape, switch, WQ. Yeah. And now that's not done. I have to apply this as well. So K apply -f sc.yaml. It's created. K get storage class. And you can see that just 5 seconds ago, a new storage class has been created. Okay. So now if I press check over here, yeah, it's done. So I know this question was very simple and very straightforward, but in the next video, it will be more complicated, but this is a good starting point to understand how you can, directly take the storage class from the documentation and utilize it for, solving the question. So just understand these basic concepts of storage class, where why we're using static provisioning and why we're using dynamic provisioning. So most of the times so far, with what I've observed is that for the exam, there is no way you can create like AWS and all at that moment, right? So that is why mostly you will have to use static provisioning itself. So we'll see more. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video.